it's definitely the case that the goal is to take my license.
No, hey, Jordan, if they wanted your license just like as much as you say they did, they would have just taken it. Just 2 seconds. Yeah, done. Yeah, we ruled that you no longer should be allowed to practice your particular field of medicine because you're not ethically sound to do that, 1956, man. Your brain is stuck in 1956.
Controversy in Canada. An Ontario court ruling that Jordan Peterson can be forced to attend social media training demanded by the Ontario College of Psychologists over his past post criticizing gender ideology and climate change.
So if he refuses to comply, he loses his license to practice clinical psychology. But Jordan Peterson says his fight is not over.
And joining us right now from Ontario, Jordan Peterson. Jordan, they say you want to keep your license, you got to do it, but you say you're not going to do it. How's this going to end?
No, I didn't say I wouldn't do it. I did say that I don't believe that it'll help.
Okay.
Hell yeah, he's going through with it. So he made a promise, and I didn't know if he was going to follow through, but basically it goes along the lines of if he has to take the course, wants to broadcast it live, which, oh, well, premium content. Thank you so much. Oh, what a gift. That would be fucking amazing. Can you imagine him sitting there and then them being like, all right, so the first lesson is just about pronouns and how to use them. Now, a lot of you may have been using pronouns your entire life. You're probably very familiar with calling someone he, him, or she, her. And you're probably even more familiar with they, them than you thought you knew. Have you ever gotten a phone call before and then referenced the person you're talking to on the phone? How did you reference them? Did you use they, them? Yeah, see, it's easy, it's natural. And guess what? You're in no trouble at all, ever, if you, without any knowledge, misgender someone, and then they're probably going to tell you, oh, by the way, I don't go by he, him, I go by they, them. No harm, no foul. At that point, you've learned their proper pronouns, and then you can begin using them the same way you've used them since you were a little baby boy, right? You were a little baby boy, and you were a little baby boy who was making sounds, you know, and talking to mommy and daddy, and then the little baby boy was able to say mommy, daddy, he, him, she, her. You can continue doing that. No trouble at all whatsoever. Yes, you had a question, sir. What do you have to say? Oh, goddamn, this is death-oriented. This is the same as Stalin's Nazis. Like, no, I can't wait. I'm very, very excited.
I'm in their hands at the moment, fundamentally, because they've already sentenced me, so to speak, to an indefinite period.
Again, the sentence. The words he uses, he talks about this with such grandiosity as if it is like the greatest thing that's ever happened. And it's like, oh yes, this is clearly, you know, the highest levels of government, Justin Trudeau and the communist Canadians trying to shut me down and then silence me for my beliefs and my opinions. And it's like, nah, dog, this again is a governing body. It's good that there's, you know, medical licensing boards that license doctors to be able to perform and practice and oversee whether or not they are, you know, misusing their license. In the case of you did pretty well documented, you know, cases of you telling people to unalive themselves. Not exactly what like a psychologist, a practicing psychologist should be doing. You know, involving yourself in hate speech a lot, picking vendettas with Elliot Page and his abs and getting all kinds of weird and confused over them. I mean, maybe it's stuff that you need to work out on your own time, but certainly not something that shows you should be a practicing psychologist. You don't lose the term doctor though, and you don't get to say that you were never a practicing psychologist, and you don't have any clients, so it actually means nothing to you. So again, there's no stakes here. So, you know, this is not like a jury of your peers found you guilty of something like murder. This is just 100%. You got to take a course just to learn not to be such an ass online, you know, which your family wants, by the way. Multiple members of your family have tried before to stop your social media addiction. You've actually stopped on your own terms. You were like, you know, I think it's for my own health and for my betterment for me not to have access to this account anymore. Clearly, I'm misusing it. That after you went after the Sports Illustrated model, this was before you were posting the cock milking fetish porn and saying that it was a Chinese communist breeding program. You do have a problem, and your family recognizes it, and it would be healthy for everyone involved if you just either took a step back or learned how to use it more responsibly, but you won't.
Of social media retraining with some social media expert, whatever the hell that is.
Whatever the hell that is.
And so I'm obliged to undertake that training at my own expense for an indefinite period of time.
Oh, my own expense? What's this course going to be? $200? $300? Like, what do you make just basically in residuals, just sitting there? Like, every single hour that goes by, it's got to be thousands. You got to be like this conversation that you're having right now. 5 minutes, probably like $1,000. So you make just in book sale residuals. You're gonna be okay, Jordan.
Until they, in their wisdom, presume that I've learned whatever it is that I'm supposed to learn.
Yeah, it would absolutely be a tax
Given
write-off.
my nature,
100%.
strikes me as highly unlikely.
Jordan, what's the goal here? I mean, are they trying to...
The goal is to take my license.
Yeah, but are they trying to send a larger message, not to you, but your followers as well?
No, they're trying to send a larger message to me, my followers, and every professional of any sort.
See, of course. Why can't it just be, so you were just a weirdo? Like, online, you were a huge weirdo, right? So there was like a picture of a just objectively very attractive woman, and you went off about how like this was authoritarianism, you know, to try and force you to find her hot, like would not smash. You made that into everyone's business. Again, millions of followers. Not sure why you'd want to broadcast that. It was deeply embarrassing. I mean, you got roasted by a lot of your own fans. They're like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, come on." Jordan, you should be so lucky. Are you serious?
In a regulated profession in Canada. And the message is, you do exactly what the low-level, mid-wit bureaucrat.
Like, come on, I don't want to get too objectifying here with the male gaze, but Jordan. Bruh. Come on. Let's be real here.
Bureaucrats tell you, or you will lose your life.
Well, maybe if I was on a private island and no one found out about it, and maybe it was just the two of us for an extended period of time, and maybe if she actually got to learn a little bit about lobster theory and, you know, was capable of harvesting coconuts with me, and yeah, maybe then, but no other situation.
Livelihood. That's the message. And it's crystal clear.
Dr. Peterson, I mean, does everyone who needs to continue their license have to do this, or are they just cherry picking you? And why do you say it's in death?
Smart. No, that one's clever, because that one doesn't seem as insidious as some of the other questions where it's just like, you know, it's a layup for him to be like, you know, this is the biggest, most important thing that's ever happened in the history of free speech in Canada. This is my cause. This is Mein Kampf. This is my struggle, my cross. Like, that one seems just kind of like, so are a lot of people usually targeted by this governing body, or is this specifically you? And it's like, well, there isn't a lot of Jordan Petersons. That's true. There's not a lot of world famous, you know, practicing psychologists who don't practice. They have no current clients. They haven't had clients in a long time. They've been making money off, you know, fake outrage for a long time. It's way more lucrative, just way more lucrative than either being a teacher or being a psychologist, to be a fake culture war outrage peddler, to be a transphobic culture war peddler. That's what Jordan Peterson is. That's the extent of his contributions to society. He is a transphobic, fear-mongering peddler. That's what he does. There's lots of money in that. So yeah, of course he's gonna like pursue that. So yeah, there's not a lot of other examples of someone of his size, his stature, and then also having his kind of social media presence where, yeah, I suppose if you are both licensed as a practicing psychologist while simultaneously being weirdly obsessed with Elliot Page's body and just never shutting the fuck up about his body and just going off about how fucking his body's been mutilated by Nazi doctors and shit like that, and then telling other people to unalive themselves, which again is really fucked up to do as a practicing psychologist. You know, refusing, I guess, to go anywhere past what the DSM-3 is basically where his brain's at when he talks about these kind of topics. It's kind of like, well, yes, they don't realize this is a mental disorder of the highest order. It's like, holy shit, we've come a long way since that. Jordan, what do you do you not read textbooks past like what, 1956? Is that where you're stuck in? You're a 1956 man? Well, okay, 1956 man brain shouldn't have a license. Super easy, you know? The guy whose brain is stuck in 1956, let it stay there and don't license it. You can have 1956, sir. Enjoy. Yes. What are you saying? Women are allowed to vote, see?
Definitely. You have to continue to take these courses until they decide you've learned your lesson?
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa. Proper use of pronouns. Careful now.
That's part and parcel of the whole deal. Yes. And no, I wouldn't say they're precisely cherry picking me. I suppose in a sense they are, because I'm the most well-known voice among professionals who dissent from the whatever ideology I'm supposed to be following. I dissent from that most egregiously, let's say. And so they're definitely making an example of me. And
Speaking of making an example, he's also already threatened them. He used Claudine Gay as a verb. He threatened to do a Claudine Gay on them, where it's just like, oh, we'll see what other information comes up, you know, to this governing body. You know, like, holy damn. So that's a threat. You're just, this is not what a psychologist is supposed to do, dude. Like, holy shit.
it's quite an effective example in some ways, because I have the time and resources to fight this battle, and I'm not dependent on my license for my financial.
Yeah, no shit. Again, there's no stakes here.
Oh, I don't even have any clients or customers. I don't need to worry about that. No, I don't intend on practicing again, but I want it. I want to know that I could, you know?
Stability and the support of my family. It's an extraordinarily expensive and time-consuming battle, and it's definitely the case that the goal is to take my license, because what they'll claim after.
No, hey, Jordan, if they wanted your license just like as much as you say they did, they would have just taken it. Just 2 seconds. Yeah, done. Yeah, we ruled that you no longer should be allowed to practice your particular field of medicine because you're not ethically sound to do that, 1956, man. Your brain is stuck in 1956, and that's, you know, that's your thing. That's fine. But yeah, these fields have come a very long way, and it's incredibly dangerous to think of you. Imagine if you had a client who was trans, who was talking about like how they were trying to figure out their gender identity, they needed to learn about that, and you've got a guy sitting across from them being like,
whoa, you gotta stay away from the mutilating Nazi butchers as they try to change your body. He's, he, she's, her, sirs, he's, her, Elliot Page's abs in the moonlight.
like, then obviously, yeah, that's not going to be a great moment. It's not going to help someone.
Dragging me through whatever this re-education is going to be, that, you know, I can't be taught.
Right.
That I'm ungovernable. That'll be the final. Is a disgrace to his profession, and he's ungovernable.
I know it's petty, but I mean, him glitching out in that face, that's kind of funny. I'm going to replay that.
The final is a disgrace to his profession, and he's ungovernable.
Yeah, call me Tom.
Well, when it all resolves itself, we'd love to have you back.
Is this similar to what's happening here in America? They're doing this with Republicans, Donald Trump.
Oh, wow. I mean, just throw that out there. Yeah. Yes. 1-to-1 identical scenarios. What is happening to Donald J. Trump, the president of the US of A, is also happening to me simultaneously.
Well, it's similar to, I would say, cancel culture in general, and it.
Good job. Good job. Yep. Do that. Woke mind virus, cancel culture, 1984, Greg Irwin, all that stuff. Just squeeze it all together. One little blob of outrage.
Similar to all the attempts to stop people who have an alternative viewpoint, which wouldn't have been alternative at all like 10 years ago,
right,
from expressing themselves by any means possible for the good of.
What defense is that? Like,
oh yeah, 400 years ago, it was completely fine to own a plantation. Now apparently you're some kind of villain or demon if you do this.
Of humanity and the planet. So
Jordan,
yeah, it's part of a much broader pattern.
Yeah, so we heard about the new online college that you guys in your academy that you plan on launching. Tell us.
Oh yeah, the one that's going to be really expensive and not certified. So you can spend a ton of money and then you have no real accreditation to be able to get a job with it. Awesome. That'll really take it to the wokes. Those wokes. You're really gonna drop kick the wokes in the face with that one, right?
It's about the work you and your daughter plan on launching.
Well, I've thought for a long time that the university systems, the systems of higher education in the West in general, are corrupt beyond redemption and also extraordinarily expensive and time-consuming. And I've wanted to do something about that for many, many years. And we put together an online university project. We have about 30 professors, and they're very, very good professors. I've been privileged to meet some of the most intelligent and informed people in the world. We brought them down to Miami and filmed them producing 8-hour lectures, which are very, very well produced and accompanied by appropriate illustrations. And we'll launch that. We're going to soft launch that at the end of February to a limited number of initial subscribers. And we hope to knock the cost of a general course of higher education of various lengths. We're going to offer 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and 4 year certificates. We hope to drop the price by 95% and to provide the participants, the students.
You're already doing the infomercial thing, you know? Sign up now, 2 for 1. You and your child can go together. Hey, in the next 30 minutes or less, if you sign up, you also get 95. That's right, 95% off and this free kitchenware set. This kitchenware set is non-stick, non-Teflon, and yet will kick the most delicious food you've ever tasted in your lives. Now, 97% off.
With a high quality social opportunities as well, because we know that university is in part a social enterprise as well as an educational enterprise.
Oh shit, he even got the chyron. Look at that. Peterson Academy. I wonder if the website's changed from just the initial kind of like concept. Peterson Academy. Are you ready for grandmother's brush? No, it hasn't. Unfortunately, it's still just a sign up, like a bunch of random AI geometric images and then sign up now.
We'll have the best courses there are, taught by the best professors there are. And it'll be very...
He's already announced who some of them are. I think Brett Weinstein, the whole horse paste dude, the one who was like, yeah, horse paste will cure you. He's probably going to be there. I don't know if he's teaching economics. They couldn't get, fucking Elon Musk for that one. So maybe he is, but we'll see. But yeah, that's just to give you... Maybe Dave Rubin can teach comedy, the Dave Rubin method. Yeah, he can have his own fucking masterclass.
Expensive, widely available, translated into multiple languages eventually. And that's the plan, to put out some competition for the increasingly idiot universities. And you can see what they're like merely by contemplating what happened in Washington, D.C., when the presidents of MIT, Harvard, and UPenn made an absolute shambles of themselves and their institutions. And if you think that that was just a consequence of them and not indication of an unbelievable deep rot, well, you're blind, because the universities are very corrupt.
Well, thank you, Jordan Peterson, for joining us from Canada.
Yeah. Okay. If you want to criticize universities, there's a lot of things you can criticize them for. Like, a lot of the universities actually operate a lot more like massive real estate development plots. Like that's something you can go at them for. And then certainly there's a lot of cases to be made about how they are only for the privileged few. So universities just should probably be free. That's something that we could pay for through taxation. Also really big things. But then to say that you're going to make your own unwoke Trump university and that you're going to have your own courses, your own teachers. None of it, by the way, because we've seen the advertisement for it, where it's him and his daughter being like, oh, we're going to upset the entire balance of the current paradigm. And then it's like, but you're intentionally stating that it's not going to be accredited. And then obviously the question comes up, well, if I'm spending any amount of money for anything online, whether it's a course, a tutorial, is that going to help me be able to recoup, get an ROI, return on investment in my training, right? So it makes sense if I was to join a university that I was hoping that if I put this on my resume, yes, I graduated from this, here's my certification, that an employer is suddenly going to be like, okay, well, now you're going to get this job because you have the certification necessary. You're bragging about the fact that you have no accreditation. That's part of it. You're selling yourself on that. Like, we don't have any of this woke academic accreditation. You're just going to have the best people in the best possible fields. Brett Weinstein's going to be there, all this kind of shit, and they're going to teach you a bunch of shit. And you're like, okay, fine. You're basically running like an alt-right chud MAGA style PragerU, but IRL. It's an IRL PragerU. Okay, we get that too. Then you threaten employers, being like, oh, they bloody well, they'll know what to do, and they better hire you if they know what's good for them. It's like, well, look, yeah, but that's not going to work. You don't get to do what you do in punditry, which is just make veiled threats all the time, call everything you don't like a pedophile or a groomer, in the sense of this will get you a job. That's never going to work. Like, oh, you tell your employer that Jordan Peterson says that, yeah, if you're not careful, I'll do a Claudine Gay on you. I'll reveal that you were a plagiarist in the past. Tell them Jordan said so. Like, that's never going to, what? You're just going to basically fleece a whole bunch of people who are probably already really desperate, looking for work and looking for some kind of guidance in life. They've latched onto you. You're their lobster daddy, and now they're like, lobster daddy has a course, got to get it. I was going to take the Andrew Tate one, but apparently there's some whole rapist, pedophiles, human trafficking shit going on there. So let's try out Jordan and Jordan U.
Talking about the new, essentially the new college is starting online at the end of the month. Once again, if people want more information, it's petersonacademy.com. Doctor, thank you very much for making a house call.
Plug.
Hey, good to see you guys. Thanks for the invitation.
You're
welcome.
Good luck.
Oh,
I'm Steve Ducey.
hell.
I'm Brian Kill.
Oh, Well, he's out there and he's excited and he's looking to change the world. A couple of quick last little pieces of info. Fox News, Rick Perry says immigrants dilute America and people should be up in arms, literally. Once again, the language and rhetoric of everyone from, you know, Donald Trump to all the pundits who are repeating this kind of shit, Charlie Kirk putting this stuff out in the ether, everything that was usually relegated to Stormfront is now being normalized amongst the right. It's like they don't care about the masks anymore. They don't care about the dog whistles. They don't care about any of that. When you've got one of the ex-presidents of the United States, Donald Trump, going on the world stage and using the language of Mein Kampf, and then all of a sudden everyone is starting to use these terms, it's like, well, yeah, you know, they're from inferior civilizations, okay? They dilute America, what they like are, I'm just saying, our stock, if you will, okay? And by doing so, they make us dirtier. They are making us dirtier and filthier, and yeah, that because they're from inferior civilizations. We are a superior civilization, right? I think you've probably got enough at this point to understand where we're going with this.
Joining us now is someone who knows an awful lot about our southern border. That's former Texas governor, former energy secretary.
I think he knows a lot about,
Governor,
like,
good to see you.
torturing people.
I really feel for the people of Texas. The only thing that I take heart in is that the Border Patrol, federal Border Patrol, they were saying they're not going in. They're not cutting that razor wire. They're not going to have a confrontation with Texas National Guard. What if Joe Biden then tries to federalize Texas's Guard? What's going to happen?
Yeah, good on those men and women. Let me say first, you know, God bless Greg Abbott, standing up and basically saying he's not going to allow this continual dilution of our country, this just overrunning of our border, the literal letting in of these individuals who, you nailed it right on the head, Sean, when you talked about there's a lot of bad people involved in this that are
pure
across
stock.
the border. People we don't know who they are, but I guarantee, as sure as God made strawberries, that some of them are being sent here with.
You can't do like fascist rhetoric and then try to get all Darwin Southern with it. You know, you can't do that. You can't just throw that in there. Sure as God made strawberries, they're diluting the stock, making us a little less air, you know what I'm saying? But that just as sure as raspberries are God's little kisses. They're diluting our stock.
With bad intent in their mind. And on that, they're gonna go do some bad things in this country.
Bad hombres.
And Greg Abbott and those 25 other governors that stood up. You know, God bless them as well. I'm telling you, this administration likes to talk about, you know, constitutional crises that be created by Donald Trump, and right here, right before our eyes, we see a constitutional crisis being created by the Biden administration. And Texans aren't going to put up with it. They're standing up. They're doing what's right. And, you know, I hope that it doesn't turn into anything worse than just, you know, being put out. But the other thing that's going to happen is Texas is going to become a substantially redder state than it already is. Those Hispanic, historically Democrats along the border are seeing what this administration's doing, and they're going to walk away from the Democrat Party and say, no more, we've had it with you, we're going to go.
It's gonna be wild that, like, you know, in a year and a half time, all of a sudden they'll stop talking about the border for a little while. It's just like every 4 years, it seems, all of a sudden the border is the most dangerous place in America, and all of a sudden these, like, you know, MS-13 gangs are teaming up with Hezbollah, who are then creating these kind of new super Chinese viruses that are trying to bring them over and spread AIDS and stuff like that. That only really happens in cycles. It's not as if it's a consistent problem. It's a once every 4 years problem. Interesting though, neat. I don't know why that is. Correlation doesn't equal causation and all that kind of stuff, right?
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Can you please hit the like and subscribe button and maybe leave a comment? It really does help the videos out. But first, the people who produce everything you see before you and make this entire channel possible: Amazing Fletch, Anna Loves Riley, Ariane McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbard Salim, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Puppy, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby K, Cernicus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Demel, Trevbot.exe, Words Greenwood, and Travis McClinton. And also, thank you to every other person who helps fund this show. Their names are on the screen right now. It would not be possible without every single one of them. We cannot thank you enough. And if you want to join the Patreon, please come to patreon.com/theserfs and help us exist.